Welcome everyone to the 6th section of the Tower of Spirits, where we will tackle the final parts of the tower. These are the most challenging floors and will put all of the skills you've acquired thus far to the test. Vern/Staven told us that there are some hidden floors beneath the altar at the very top of the tower, where we saw Malladus possessing Zelda's body. So go all the way up the stairs, step into the blue light, then go through the boss chamber where we fought Burn, and circle around to get back to the altar. There is a stamp station here, and I collected that stamp earlier on in this chapter, so go ahead and grab that if you haven't already. To proceed, you want to use the Bow of Light to charge up a light arrow and shoot both of the golden eye switches. Alright, so on this first floor we have some Armo statues that are blocking the path to the south, and there are spikes blocking the way east. That leaves us with only one direction we can go for now, so go north and down the stairs. Now here, I'm assuming Zelda is hinting that we need a torch phantom, but that's not really possible until later. For now, the only thing we can do in this room is sneak behind one of the two regular phantoms and take control of them. Now that we have the Locomo sword, we don't need to collect Tears of Light anymore, which is awesome, so we can just grab phantoms whenever we want. Alternatively, you can also shoot them in the back with a light arrow to also stun them, and it does the same thing as the sword does. However, you still have to run up and actually tap on them in order to possess them, so I'm not really sure why they gave us this functionality specifically, unless maybe you can stun them from across the room and then run up to them just so that you don't have to get so close to them otherwise. I don't know. Once you have one, you want to go back up the stairs and back on the first floor, or number 30 rather. You want to go send Zelda through the spikes and step on the floor switch, thus allowing us to continue on in this direction. So the phantom patrolling back and forth in the lava here will pick a random direction at each one of these forks in the road, so it may go straight or it may turn, and it's just kind of random which one it'll do, so you may have to adjust for that and run around with Zelda to avoid it. Now to proceed, we need to hit both of these crystal switches that are on the outer sides of these platforms, so to hit them you want to stand in the middle and use the boomerang to hit the switches. Just be warned that you want to be really careful while drawing that path, because if you hit the walls, then the phantom will come and investigate, so you need to quickly run away, and it's a good thing we're not amazingly slow while on top of Zelda's back, you know? Okay, back in the dark room, and now in the top right corner, we can work our way to the left and read the stone tablet to get a clue about what to do next. Alright, so now that we have a torch phantom, there are two main things we need to do, but they're kind of in opposite directions. First, we need to go to the top left corner of the map. To do that, you want to go to the top right and use the stairs, go through the lava, then go back down the stairs that are near the entrance that are in the top middle of the map, and this will lead us back to the dark room, this time in the top left. So now that we have light in this portion of the room, we can explore this part of the dark room and draw on our map to figure out what everything looks like. I already have mine all figured out and all fancy as you can see, so you can just use mine as a reference, or just quickly jot down the general shape on your own map or whatnot. Now in the bottom right corner of this area there is a stone tablet that gives you a clue about how to proceed, and now that we have light you can go read that if you'd like. So I find the wording of this thing kind of confusing because it makes me think the stone tablet is talking about us, but it's actually referring to the regular phantoms. When you use Zelda to speak with either of them to get a clue about what to do. So really the tablet just gives us a clue about another clue. It's like a scavenger hunt. You find all the hints and then eventually it leads to a prize. Awesome. Just to the left of the stone tablet there is a bomb flower, and if you don't have a bomb bag then you're going to need to use this to blow up the wall in the top left corner, and you're basically going to have to run through the dark and throw it where you think the wall is. This can be really confusing if you haven't marked your map yet so that you understand the layout of the room. Now, if you have to do this, just make sure you wait for a good chance when the phantoms are far away so that you can get a clear path to your destination. Now, the actual bombable spot is just to the right of the top left corner, so if you have the bomb bag, you can just simply use the regular bombs to blow this up instead, which is much easier, but I'm just showing this for people who might not have that capability. Anyway, that hole in the wall leads to another new area, but we can't actually do anything with that yet. It's just important to get that out of the way right now because we have a torch phantom so we can see the bomb flower. So next you want to work your way to the bottom left corner of the map, and there are 2 torches here. You want to have Zelda light both of them to open the door, then go down the stairs. So the first thing we need to do in this room is go north, and I do recommend killing the Stalfos warrior before you attempt to solve the puzzle. Once that's taken care of, you want to use the sand wand to create platforms for Zelda. She can walk on the raised sand, but if she steps off and lands on the regular sand, she will sink and then pop back up on regular land. You want to have her light one of the torches, and then you can either have her walk to the next one or use the boomerang to pass the flame along. So again, before moving on, you should kill these Stalfos warriors in the sand below. It's not required, but in particular for this section, if you accidentally get them on the sand platform with you, you will be unable to defend yourself. You'll see what I mean in a bit. That'll make sense in just a moment. The tricky thing about these chests here is that they're on even higher platforms, like it's a 3rd tier, like above the sand. So to get to them, you're going to need to ride on Zelda's shield and then create a platform for her as you go. This can be kind of annoying because of the camera angle, you don't really see far to the south at all, but using the sand wand does force the camera to move in the direction that you're currently dragging the stylus, which allows you to easily have enough viewable space and make a good platform for yourself. You want to switch back and forth between drawing a path for Zelda and raising the sand with the wand. You want to be sure to do a good job, though, because it only takes one mistake. If you have a single hole at all, then you'll fall through and land on the sand, and then she'll sink, and then you'll have to start over again. Once you reach one of the platforms, make sure that Zelda's standing completely on solid ground so she doesn't fall into the sand, and also make sure that you draw a path for her towards the higher platform to make sure that she's close enough so that when you hop off, you'll actually land on the upper platform rather than landing on the same elevation as her. Otherwise, you'll have to draw a path for her all the way to the north to start over again, and so it just adds a whole bunch more work for you. Alright, so that is how you get the first key. There are 3 total we need to get before we can proceed to the second chunk of the dungeon, or rather the second chunk of this part of the Tower of Spirits anyway, so it's kind of like a piece of a piece. A very small slice of pizza, but a really big pizza to start out with, so a small piece isn't really as small as you think, so it's lengthy, but tasty. Anyway, that's all we can do for now, so work your way all the way back to where we found the torch phantom. In the dark room, though, I did blow up a wall in the top left corner of that same dark room, earlier on in this video, and that is our next objective. So if you haven't blown up that wall yet, then you need to go play with explosives. But if anybody asks, you didn't hear that from me. So back in the dark room, this time in the top right corner, you want to work your way towards the middle of the room where the torch phantom was slowly circling around. It isn't currently here because Zelda is possessing that one. Regardless, collect the torch phantom if you don't currently have one, then work your way to the bottom left corner of the map, having Zelda light torches along the way. Now, assuming you know where to stand, you could technically light all of these with the boomerang, passing the flame from one torch to another. However, that is kind of dangerous, especially if you don't know exactly where the walls are, because if you do hit a wall with a boomerang, it will make noise, and the phantoms will come and investigate. So this stone tablet here gives us a clue about how to acquire one of the 3 small keys. There are 2 golden eye switches that we need to hit, and one of them is behind the warp phantom here, and we need a warp phantom anyway. So lure it away, and then sneak up behind it and have Zelda possess it. So before you leave, make sure you go shoot the golden eye switch it was guarding. This first one permanently lights a torch on the far right side of the room, but we won't be able to actually get to that for a while, but we are one step closer to the right direction. Speaking of right direction, you should probably go that direction. right, that is. It's the correct direction for us right now. We want to go all the way to the top right corner, go up the stairs, through the lava, and down the stairs again to get back to the top left corner of the dark room. I know, this is outrageous. They've made us go through here 4 times. But don't worry, this is the last time we're going to go through the lava, I promise. In the far top left corner of the dark room, there is a place where you can bomb a hole in the wall. I did this earlier on in the video while I had a torch phantom, and if you don't have that blown up yet, you want to toss a bomb there real quick, or refer to earlier in the video to find out how to use a bomb flower in this room. You want to enter with a warp phantom and go through those 2 small rooms. We need to step on this floor switch, but to get to it we need to ride on Zelda's shield to reach the ledge. We don't have any raised platforms, but there is this sandy area here. Before moving on, you want to toss a bomb at the cracked blocks here to reveal a chest containing treasure. Now, if for some unfathomable reason you did not purchase the bomb bag from Beetle's Airshop, the only other way to get this thing is to come back here later with a Wrecker Phantom. So now that we have a Phantom Eye in the southern part of the room, you can use it to send Zelda over there. You want to draw a path to the circle tile and wait for the Phantom Eye to get closer, and then once you lock on, you can release with the stylus to warp over, and then swap with Link to have him run over to the right side before the Phantom comes back. Now, even if it does see you, it's really not that much of a threat because you can just run to the safe zone, as I demonstrate, or you could just simply run in circles in the sand, because then when the Warp Phantom does appear, it will just sink. Once the Phantom Eye comes back, you want to draw a path with Zelda to the far right this time so that she can warp onto solid ground. Once she does warp over there, you want to send her through the spikes so that you can use the triangle tiles with Link. So you can just leave Zelda there because we're going to be coming back here the same way. You want to run to the north and confront the Warp Phantom. You can either use like ranged weapons to make it investigate somewhere and then just take it over with Zelda, or you can make it chase you around and lead it into the sand. I don't know about you guys, but for some reason that just makes me really happy. Once that's taken care of, quickly run over to the right and activate the golden eye switch before the Warp Phantom reappears. Again, if you possessed it instead, then it will not reappear. However, that means you're going to have to warp it back south so that you can use the tiles again. So now that we've opened up the barrier here, we can proceed to the bottom right corner of the map. However, we are going to need to be elevated for this next puzzle, so have Zelda stand next to the sand, then use the sand wand and hop onto her shield. Okay, so while standing on Zelda's shield, stand near the edge of the abyss here and use the boomerang to rotate the orb off to your left until it points north. Then charge up a light arrow and use it to activate the golden eye switch. At long last, we're in the bottom right corner of the dark floor. Yeah. This area is actually pretty wide open with the exception of a single wall that is kind of separating it from the stairs. First of all, go kill that rat, because otherwise it'll probably frighten Zelda, and you'll be like trying to sneak up on the Phantom. And while Zelda is scared like that, she cannot possess another Phantom. So, go kill the rat, and then get the Wrecker Phantom. Nice! So now there is a few things we can do here, but real quick, while it's still fresh in your mind, go back up the stairs. There's some Wrecker Phantom stuff we can do up here. These block towers have Armo statues in the middle of them, so you can't get through them with just, like, bombs alone. You need a Wrecker Phantom to mow them down. So do so, then open the chest here to get the second small key. Now before going back down the stairs real quick, you want to go to the far left and run towards the center of the map. There's some more Armo statues that are blocking the way, so smash through them with Zelda to create a massive shortcut back to the very beginning of the dungeon. Now this may seem kind of irrelevant, you're like, yeah, so what? Well, now we don't have to go through the lava ever again, and we don't have to go through that Warp Phantom puzzle ever again. This will take us back to the Dark Room, so this is actually a really big shortcut, and it'll make more sense here in a moment. So with that taken care of, I'm going to go back to the far right and return to the Dark Floor. Okay, so in this bottom right corner of the map, there is only one unlit torch, and that is next to the doorway on the far left. Use the boomerang to light it, which will remove both of the barriers on this floor, which allows us to go wherever we want. Now isn't that nice? So next up, we have the golden eye switch puzzle that is on this floor. We need to shoot both of the golden eye switches, starting with the one on the far left side of the map that is just behind the Warp Phantom. I did that earlier on in this video, and doing so permanently lights this torch that is in this portion of the room along the north wall, and it reveals the location of a second golden eye switch. So shoot this one with a light arrow, and this will create a chest off to the far right containing the third and final small key. So if you don't have all the small keys, you need to refer to earlier on in the video. It's kind of a process to get them all. Like some of them require multiple steps, and I did them over the course of the video, so don't really know what other advice to give you. You need to just steadily do each one of those sections. If you've actually unlocked all of this floor, you should already have like most of the small keys available to you now. Like they're really easy to get. Anyway, now that we have all 3 small keys, it's time to go moving on to the remaining floors. At long last, go snag a Wrecker Phantom if you don't currently have one, then go down the stairs in the middle bottom of the map. This leads to an area where you have 3 different locked doors to choose from. Zelda will question you as you approach, but her responses are kind of irrelevant. We need to go to all 3, so you can do different portions of them in different orders, whichever way you want to do it. However, I will be taking the most efficient path. So, first up, go to the right door, which requires a Wrecker Phantom. As you enter any of those 3 doors for the first time, you'll see a short cinematic showing the 3 golden eye switches on this floor. There's one in each area, or each door in other words. That's our objective in order to move forward, so once you regain control, you want to travel to the far bottom right corner of the map and use Zelda to break through the cracked blocks. To kill the Phantom Eye, you can either use Zelda or a ranged item to hit it from afar. Be really careful not to let it see you, because we don't really have a safe zone readily available, so if you do get seen, you'll probably get owned by the Warp Phantom that appears. The stone tablet here tells you the solution of a torch puzzle in the middle bottom of this floor, so you can mark your map if you want to. The correct order is unguarded, sand, abyss, guarded. So with information collected, quickly leave this area before the Phantom Eye comes back. Next, you want to use Zelda to pummel her way through the boulders to reach the safe zone. She'll need to be a Wrecker Phantom for this to work, though. I'm going to smack the crystal switch here to stop the boulders, then go left. We can't actually do anything with this circle warp tile just yet, but just keep that in mind for now. And to the south, we have some more Armos and cracked blocks that need to be destroyed with a Wrecker Phantom. This finishes up all the stuff we needed the Wrecker Phantom for, so once that is all taken care of, go back up the stairs, then go up the stairs again to return to the Dark Room and switch Phantom types. So the next Phantom type we need has to allow you to stand on its shield, so basically we need anything other than a Wrecker Phantom, great. The one thing we didn't have. So shortly after that, though, we are going to need a Warp Phantom, so if you like, you can just do 2 birds with 1 stone and get the Warp Phantom now. So go at the far left and lure the Warp Phantom away from its post so that you can sneak up behind it and then possess it. I'm going to go back down the stairs in the bottom middle of the map, and this will bring you back to that room with all the locked doors. The next door that requires the Warp Phantom skills is the one on the far left. So once you get close to the sand here, it will create 3 Phantom Eyes strategically placed around the map so that you can maneuver through this floor, which is pretty cool. To get past this first one, you can either have Zelda warp to the Phantom Eye and kill it, if she's a Warp Phantom. Otherwise, you can use the boomerang and bow with Link to take care of it and kill it, and then afterwards go step on the floor switch to create a platform across the sand so that Zelda can get over it. Otherwise, if she's a Warp Phantom, you could have just warped her over. So next we need to get on Zelda's shield so that we're tall enough. You want to place her next to the sand, then use the wand to raise yourself up. Then quickly draw her a path to the south before the Phantom Eye returns. I'm going to whip across the gap here, then step on the floor switch to create another bridge so that you can get back. Then you can have Zelda follow you if you like, but it's not required. I'm going to walk to the north, and this will make another warp phantom appear, along with a patrolling phantom eye. You can optionally kill these Stalfos here, just make sure you stay far enough to the south that the Phantom Eye doesn't see you, otherwise that could be a problem. So next we need to take out that Warp Phantom. If Zelda is currently a Warp Phantom herself, she can actually kill the Phantom Eye so that we don't have to worry about it. Otherwise, a good trick is to purposefully let it see you, then hop down into the sand and run around. The Warp Phantom will appear in the sand next to you and sink. Then you can just wiggle out of the Phantom Eye's grasps and kill it while it's stunned, and then you can get on top of the platform. Anyway, once you're in a good position, you want to get on top of the platform, the Warp Phantom will reappear if you killed it. Then you don't have to worry about it, you can possess it, and then there's no other Warp Phantoms in this room, so that's really nice. This also makes sure that Zelda is at the right elevation, because we need her on this platform. Now we need to get Zelda on the platform on the left. Now to get her there, you can either form a bridge with the Sand Wand, or you can wait until the Phantom Eye appears and patrols over there so you can warp over to it. Now here, I actually started trying to make a bridge, and then I got nervous because the Phantom Eye was about to reappear, so I moved Zelda to the north and waited until she killed it before I continued. In hindsight, I should have just stood on top of this raised platform, which makes it so the eye can't see you anyway. Once you have Zelda over there, have her pick up the arrow orb, then move it to the same position where the orb was on the floor. Stand on the small raised platform yourself and use a boomerang to rotate the orb until it points to the north. Then shoot it with a light arrow. Wait until the Phantom Eye goes past, then have Link run to the far right to get into the sandy area. Next with Zelda, you want to have her warp to the Phantom Eye on the far right side of the map. Earlier, I actually brought a Wrecker Phantom and destroyed the barriers there, which will now grant us access to the circle tile that is on that side of the room. You want to have Zelda stand on that one on the right, then have Link stand on the one on the far left and swap them. Now the floor switch on the platform here on the left side of the room will remove the barrier in front of the eye switch on the far right, but it needs to stay pressed down, so once you have Zelda situated, you want to have Link go shoot the arrow orb with a light arrow. Just make sure you're not to walk too far south, otherwise that Phantom Eye will see you and you'll have to go run to the safe zone. So that is all the stuff we had to do with the Warp Phantom, so now it's time to go all the way back and get a different type of Phantom. So you can either swap with Zelda again and work your way through the sandy area on the far left side of the map, or you can have Zelda simply warp to the right Phantom Eye again, and then follow you out this way. This is quite a bit easier, but whichever way you prefer. So finally, go snag the Torch Phantom in the middle, then go down the stairs and access the middle doorway, which leads to the Torch Phantom puzzles. So these torches need to be lit in a specific order. You could just use the process of elimination and just play around until you eventually figure it out. But there's actually a stone tablet in the bottom right corner of this floor that tells you the solution, and I looked at that earlier on in this video. The correct order is Plane, Sand, Abyss, Spikes. Alright, so go shoot the golden eye switch, and if you've been following along with me, this should be your last one, and it will remove the barrier to the north in the middle. This leads to an arena where we will battle a bunch of enemies, so if you want to run off and get some hearts and arrows and bombs or whatnot, now would be an excellent time to do that. But perhaps more importantly, though, if you want, you could go switch to a Wrecker Phantom, which makes these next battles quite a bit easier. Whatever you decide, get past the Phantom Eye here, then go down the stairs. In the top left corner of this room, there is some glass acorn dealios that have bombs and arrows, and they recharge really fast, so you can just, by passing by them and collecting some every now and then, you'll have way more than enough bombs and arrows to deal with the enemies in this room. So, first up we have some blue choo-choos that are invulnerable to your regular attacks. If you try and use your sword, you'll just get electrocuted. So, you want to use either arrows, bombs, or Zelda to take them out. And again, if you brought a Wrecker Phantom, this is ridiculously easy. So once you've gotten them pretty whittled down, you want to try and stay on the left or right side when you kill the last one, because there are gaps where the next batch of enemies won't appear, and this way they don't pop up right on top of you and deal damage to you. Again, you want to use bombs or arrows to take them out quickly. Zelda isn't very effective against these guys because they'll just keep jumping out of the way. The exception to this is the Wrecker Phantom, which will just mow these guys down really, really quick. The final enemies are 3 red Geozards that'll pop up in the bottom left, the bottom right, and the top center. So try and stand anywhere but there, and depending on how much life they have, you can just go crazy on them, either using Zelda to attack them on one side while you sneak up from behind, or use the whip to remove their shield and stab them to death. Otherwise, if you're trying to be more careful, a cool technique that I found is to just stay in the corner and use Zelda as a shield against a majority of the room, and then only attack one that gets in a position where it can attack me. So, by quickly running forward and whipping the shield, I can then shoot them from afar using arrows. So what I'm doing is I'm only attacking ones that go to the left side of the room, and then I'm ignoring the ones on the right side of the room entirely. So this is the final floor of the tower. No, really, I mean final floor. No more Tower of Spears after this. I don't know if that makes you happy or sad, but regardless, this last floor comes with one of each type of phantom, and the first of which we're going to want to acquire is the Torch Phantom. So if you don't currently have one already, you're going to want to kill this one and take it over. There are 2 torches near the door in the middle, and I recommend you wait to snag it until about the Wrecker Phantom reaches about the far south, and the reason for this is so that the Torch Phantom is out of the way, and so that the Phantom Eye is out of the way as well, and you'll see what I mean in a moment. That's for timing purposes. So once you light both of them, the door will open and a Phantom Eye will appear. Now I like to have Zelda kill it so that I don't have to worry about it, but whatever you decide. You can wait until it patrols off to the far left, but the Phantom Eye moves quite a bit faster than the Phantoms in general do, so I think it's smarter to get rid of it entirely. So take over the Wrecker Phantom and use it to stun the Phantoms in the middle room so that you can get a Warp Phantom. You want to run in there, grab it, and run out, and hopefully you already have the Phantom Eye taken care of so that you don't have to deal with it. Now on the left side of the map, there are 2 switches that are on the other side of the sandy area, and we need to press them both down at the same time to proceed, but the sand prevents Zelda from walking across. There is a Phantom Eye that patrols back and forth, but it doesn't go across the sand. There was a similar puzzle for this previously on lower floors of the tower, but the solution is to stun the Phantom Eye, then use the whirlwind to blow it across the sand, and don't worry if the Torch Phantom sees you during this, because it will sink in the sand as it follows after you. Quickly have Zelda warp to the Phantom Eye, then kill it before it can cause problems. Afterwards, have each character stand on a switch to open the next barrier. final part of this floor requires a Wrecker Phantom. I'm going to go grab one, then get ready to make a run for the exit. The safe zone we're trying to get to is covered in Armo statues, so you'll need to roll through them with the Wrecker Phantom, otherwise when you run to it, you won't have anywhere to go. The safe zone is completely blocked off. So, probably the smartest thing to do is to destroy the Armos ahead of time. That way, all you have to do is focus on stunning the Phantoms. Now, in this recording, I actually did both at the same time, which probably wasn't the best decision in the world, but quick thing to note about this, though, if you have Zelda lock on to an enemy, or those armor statues for that matter, rather than following her path exactly, she will actually attack each one of those things, and then she'll go back and finish her path. So this makes it a lot easier to ensure that you're, hitting Phantoms that are walking away from her or whatnot, but it's important to note for situations like this so you can anticipate how she will move. Once you get to the safe zone, you want to have each character push a side of the door to go through the opening to the north to find, at long last, the Compass of Light, which points the way to the Dark Realm. Dun dun dun! So that concludes this chapter, folks. Join me for the next one, and I will show you how to complete the final portions of the game. See you then.